62 Java questions. Question number 1. 9 methods of object class are clone, equals, hashcode, wait, notify all, toString, getClass and finalize method. Question number 2. Difference between abstract class and interface in Java. Abstract class. An abstract classes are created to capture common characteristics of subclasses. It cannot be instantiated. It can be only used as a superclass by its subclasses. Abstract classes are used to create template for its subclasses down the hierarchy. Interface. An interface is a collection of abstract methods. A class implements an interface, thereby inheriting the abstract methods of the interface. So it is kind of signing a contract. You agree that if you implement this interface, then you have to use its methods. It is just a pattern. It cannot do anything itself. When to use abstract class and interface. Point 1. If you have lot of methods and want default implementation for some of them, then go with abstract class. Point 2. If your base contract keeps on changing, then you should use an abstract class, because if your base contract keeps on changing and you still use an interface, you would have to change all the classes which implement that interface every time the contract changes. Point 3. If you want to implement multiple inheritance, then you have to use interface. As Java does not support multiple inheritance, subclass cannot extend more than one class, but you can implement multiple interface, so you can use interface for that. Introduction of default and static methods in Java 8. Oracle has tried to bridge gap between abstract class and interface by introducing concept of default and static methods in interface. So now we can provide default implementation of method in interface and will not enforce class to implement it. Difference between an abstract class and interface in Java. 1. Abstract class can have constructor. Interface cannot have constructor. 2. Abstract class are almost same as Java classes, except you cannot instantiate it. Interfaces are altogether different type. Abstract class methods can have public, protected, private and default modifier. Interface methods are by default public. You can not use any other access modifier with it. 4. Abstract classes can have main method, so we can run it. Interface do not have main method, so we cannot run it. Abstract class can extend one other class and can implement one or more interface. Interface can extend to one or more interfaces only. 6. Abstract class is faster than interface. Interface is somewhat slower as it takes some time to find implemented method in class. If you add new method to abstract class, you can provide a default implementation of it. So you don't need to change your current code. If you add new method to interface, you have to change the classes which are implementing that interface. 8. Abstract class can have default method implementation. Interfaces are pure abstraction. It cannot have implementation at all, but in Java 8 you can have default methods in interface. Point 9. In case of abstract class, subclasses use extend keyword to extend an abstract class, and they need to provide implementation of all the declare methods in the abstract class unless the subclass is also an abstract class. In case of interface, subclasses use implements keyword to implement interface and should provide implementation for all the methods declared in the interface. Question number 3. What is difference between checked exception and unchecked exception? Checked exception. Checked exceptions are those exceptions which are checked at compile time. If you do not handle them, you will get compilation error. For example, IO exception. Unchecked exception. Unchecked exception are those exceptions which are not checked at compile time. Java won't complain if you do not handle the exception. For example, null pointer exception, array index out of bound exception. Question number 4. Difference between path and class path. Path is used to define where the system can find the executable files, that is .exe files, and class path is used to specify the location of .class file. Question number 5. What is the difference between JRE, JDK, JVM and JIT? JRE stands for Java Runtime and it's required to run Java application. JDK stands for Java Development Kit and provides tools to develop Java program, that is Java compiler. It also contains JRE. JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine and it's the process responsible for running Java application. The JIT stands for just-in-time compilation and helps to boost the performance of Java application by converting Java byte code into native code when they cross certain threshold. That is mainly hot code is converted into native code. Question number 6. Can you guarantee the garbage collection process? No, you cannot guarantee the garbage collection. Though you can make a request using system.jc or runtime.jc method. Question number 7. What is the difference between stack and heap in Java? 1. The main difference between heap and stack is that stack memory is used to store local variables and functions calls, while heap memory is used to store objects in Java, no matter where the object is created in the code. That is, as member variable, local variable or class variable, they are always created inside heap space in Java. 2. Each thread in Java has their own stack which can be specified using -xss JVM parameter. Similarly, you can also specify heap size of Java program using JVM option -xms and -xmx, where xms is starting size of the heap and xmx is the maximum size of Java heap. 3. If there is no memory left in the stack for storing function call or local variable, JVM will throw a java.lang.stack overflow error, while if there is no more heap space for creating object, JVM will throw java.lang.out of memory error, Java heap space. Point 4. If you are using recursion on which method calls itself, you can quickly fill up stack memory. Another difference between stack and heap is that size of stack memory is a lot lesser than the size of heap memory in Java. Point number 5. Variables stored in stack are only visible to the owner thread, while objects created in the heap are visible to all threads. In other words, stack memory is kind of private memory of Java thread, while heap memory is shared among all threads. Question number 8. Difference between countdown latch and cyclic barrier in Java. Both cyclic barrier and countdown latch are used to implement scenario where one thread waits for one or more threads to complete their job before starts processing. But there is one difference between countdown latch and cyclic barrier in Java which separate them apart, and that is you cannot reuse same countdown latch instance once count reaches to 0 and latch is open. On the other hand, cyclic barrier can be reused by resetting barrier once barrier is broken. Question number 9. There are 4 different ways to create object in Java. A. Using new keyword. This is the most common way to create object in Java. B. Using class.forName. If you know the name of the class and if it has public default constructor, we can create an object in this way. My object equals to in bracket my object class.forName in bracket subin.rnd.myObject.new instance semicolon. C. Using clone method. My object another object equals to new my object equals to in bracket my object another object dot clone method. D. Using object serialization. Object input stream in stream is equals to new object input stream in bracket an input stream. My object equals to in bracket my object in stream dot read object semicolon. Question number 10. How to create object without using the keyword new in Java? Without new, the factory methods are used to create object for class. For example, calendar C equals to calendar dot get instance. Here calendar is the class and the method get instance is factory method which can create an object for the calendar class.